Okay, guys, so have you noticed that as soon as you start to get creative and you realize, ooh, I'm really good at this and this feels good. This is what they mean by if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Yes. And then you start to monetize your creativity, business aspects of it, structure, goals. All of that starts to kill the whole thing. Crash and burn, right? Well, here's some ways to be able to stay in the creative vibe and monetize your creativity by understanding that yin and yang of what's going on. Okay, so first I would like to start with the disclaimer that we are not trying to kill our masculine. We are not trying to take away the patriarchy or the age of Capricorn or power to the principles versus power to the people. I want this video to really invoke in you the understanding that both are necessary and that we are just leaning more towards that masculine action-oriented energy, and we have lost sight of the balance of the feminine. And so when you try to get into creativity, which is very much a feminine aspect, I hate that I even say that because it's actually both, but we're going to use that for concepts. It is what we've lost sight of. It's that starving artist, don't do it, become a doctor type concept. And so what starts to happen as we start to get into our creative zone, we're still in separation. And what that means is we have a belief system, our old identity, that this creativity could never make us money. And so this is an archetypal collective thing that we've been under for a very long time. And so what happens is it's not really a battle of, creativity in making money, because you will fall out of that vibe, but it's not because of that reason. It's because of that old belief, that mindset that when I'm creative and I try to monetize it, there's something deep in your unconscious that's saying that's impossible. This goes right along with, needing to work in a corporate environment and have a boss and get a paycheck and be guaranteed on things and all of that Capricorn age type energy, versus a lot of trust, a lot of faith, a lot of going in the moment, not having a structured goal setting process. It is really killing it, because when you start to get into monetizing your creativity and goal setting, then you immediately hit that resistance of this has never worked before. Yeah. And it's only coming from a belief and a mindset that, like I talked about before, that lives within you. And so let's start looking at the ways. How do we recognize that in ourselves, and how do we stop the soul-crushing resistance so that we can start to slowly kind of lean into it? That instant manifestation video thing that's trending, that's cringe to me, because it's the instant gratification that kind of gets us in this place. And so we're going to look at it. How do we move slowly into staying creative energetically, all while maintaining structure, discipline, monetizing it? How do we blend the two? And this really goes into a lot of things I would like to say about this concept. It's that, left versus right. They both have the same core principle desire, and that is joy, peace, love, right? But the lefts tend to think that they get that through the feminine principle of everything will all work out. Let's just build a bigger table, not a higher wall. Let's just, if there's this inundation of immigrants, let's help them. And the right's like, what the heck? There is no structure to support millions of people coming into our towns. Our education's falling apart because we don't have enough teachers. Our healthcare's falling apart because we don't have enough nurses and doctors. Our, housing's falling apart because we don't have enough houses. And so then this side complains because their structure is out of sorts, and then this side complains because there's no empathy and compassion. And so I'm using this as an example of they both have the same core desire. They're just looking at it from a standpoint of what's more important from a very bipolar nature. Because if we merged those two ways together, we would have perfect balance and peace. And so I want to use that example for monetizing your creativity. You have in your mindset, you want to live that life of, if I love what I do, I never work a day in my life, and we should live that all the way till the day we die. We don't need a retirement plan. We don't need none of that. We'll just do this because it is easy. It becomes easy. We can do this every day. We can do it. I have neighbors that are 90 and they're more active and, free than anybody I know. But then I've also had the ones that are in rigid structure and they end up, needing retirement and sitting there bored and going crazy. So what I'm using by all of these tangents is for you to understand that you have that belief that your core is, I want to be at peace, free in that, doing what I love. But then creativity is over here, like there's no possibility, put structure to it. They're opposing actions, so to speak. They're opposing, but they're actually the same thing. It's just that we didn't know how to integrate the two because we've been in such a dualistic nature, as I pointed out with the political thing. And there's nothing wrong with either side. The goal of union is the same. So be with me here. So let's use another concept. So before I start to describe how we blend and merge these to be one, and then we don't have that duality causing, I want it, but I have this resistance that it can't happen. That's always the issue, and why we don't feel good and why we're triggered and why we can't level up. And that is, creativity is more of the soul, and structure and money is more of the ego. We need an ego, guys. It is our cultural collective mindsets that help us all make things work. If we didn't want, collectively, if we don't want food, right, we wouldn't be cohesive in our food and food supply and things of that nature. Even just in a family unit on a farm, living in the Amish, they have a collective thing that they work on together. So the core desire is the same, but what happens with the soul desire is the same, but the egos are going at it from different perspectives of what's the best way to do it. And so what is happening here is creativity is of your soul and monetization is of your ego. And so the soul is trying to elevate you because that's your plan, but the ego is stuck in old identity, mindsets, patterns, beliefs, collectives that aren't supporting this evolution. And so what's happening is your soul is rising. You're more merging with your higher self. You're bringing your higher self into your body, however you want to look at that. And so then that higher aspect of yourself is antagonizing and causing friction to the old mindsets and ego that you have to release. And so creativity is great because the more you start doing creativity, though, it's going to cause more of that intense friction. And so that's what's happening a lot on this planet as we move out of power to the institutions and power to the people. How that would look is we're all self-employed. We're all doing what we were destined to do. We're all in alignment with that. And so then we have to get rid of that old establishment within our own ego to let it go. And so the friction, however great or small it is determined on how far off your path you are. Yeah. So let's get to how do we merge it? It's always the same thing. We have to get in union with ourselves. We have to shift our mindsets. We have to evolve. We have to expand. We have to get out of that. So here's the tips and tricks I've learned on my horrifying journey, because remember I said however far off your path you were, the harder it is. I was way off, y'all. Way far off. And so my awakening was so intense. Woo, intense. I have an 8th house sun. Shout out to anybody who has a sun in the 8th house or the 12th house, anything that has to do with the unseen with a bright light on it. Ugh. Anytime you have hard alignments to that, that is soul bearing, crushing, get rid of what doesn't work, peel off the layers intensely. Eighth house is intense. And I also have Pluto conjunct my ascendant. So Pluto is the ruler of the eighth house, and I have it conjunct my ascendant. So I'm a very intense person, and I don't do surface. I go deep, deep, deep. And so the career I had gotten myself into was not deep. I was a CEO. I was corporate. I was everything's numbers. Everything is the plan, the goals, everything about monetizing. Nothing about creativity. Very little. So when I started to have my expansion where I had achieved so much and I still at a soul level felt a void deep, then it caused me to say, oh, I want to feel better. Why isn't this working? And there, bam. You ask for it, it's going to come. And so it was intense. And so if you're going through that expansion, this is the video for you, especially if you're struggling with career. I get a lot of coaching on that. Not as much as love, but secondary is money, obviously. So I hope that helps you understand however far you are away from your soul on the ego path, the patriarchy, so to speak, giving all your power to the institution or corporation or the government, then the harder this soul integration is going to be. But I believe the harder the friction, the more you boomerang up. So let's get to how do we do this? I really hope you get the backstories that I'm providing you so you can understand that this is what's happening and this is how we heal it. So let's get to it. Okay, so first and foremost, with any time you have to shift the ego patterns and programs. That's why I said my sun, which represents the ego and the soul's path for the ego to align with the soul, is in the eighth house, intense transformation, deaths and rebirths. I'm like a cat with 9 lives, right? And so we all are at certain aspects and levels. And so I'm just making examples to you. You don't have to know your chart or anything like this, but what is important is to recognize that there's something within me that I have to transform. I have to have a mindset shift. I can't go too far too fast. So the number one thing that we're going to have to do is remember that we have to change what the needle of success is in our mind, in our beliefs. The success barometer for us has always been money, goods, my house, my car, my clothes. So the barometer, the needle of that has to change. Our new success value in order to merge creativity with monetization has to not be so much in the monetization area. It has to be more in the feeling. What feels good. Abundance actually comes from that feeling. Poverty is what doesn't. You can earn a lot from action, but eventually it's going to cause you a lot of duality because you have to be in balance of these two things. So the needle of what you're dictating your success is. If you're writing out goal plans as you're trying to monetize your creativity and your goal plans are about money, change that to this is how I want to feel. And sometimes that takes a lot of internal recognition of what has felt good in your life. And trust me, if you're trying to monetize creativity, it's because you've recognized within yourself, when I'm doing this creative thing, it feels really good. That is your goal. To stay in that feeling good and monetize while feeling good. Because what tends to happen is as we start to monetize, we start going into those goals of the preference of what we think is going to make us happy versus what is going to make us happy, and that's the feeling. Money does not make us feel good. It does give us a better life, don't get me wrong, but we have it backwards. First, we have to feel good about money, because that's the soul crushing thing that's happening, is we don't have good belief systems about money. Money's never helped us feel good. It's always, the more I got, when I got to that level, the more scared I got. That was a key for me, because I thought the having of would take away all my fears of homelessness and not having enough, not being able to provide for my family. And so it was always soul crushing to me. And so this journey that we're talking about with monetizing your creativity really has to start with not caring so much about money and just caring about feeling good. That is the key. And then the application of making it a career, making it a business, making it afford you a better life financially would have to be baby steps. Okay, I can think the next thing that I can do to monetize this and work with that. Very small goals. Could be just even that day, without, focusing too much on what money is in it for you. There's the key. And so I think that we can realize at this point is that when we put our internal happiness, which is what this channel is all about, is union with ourselves and feeling good no matter what externally is happening, especially in the world we're in right now. We have to get that resilience that we stay within and we don't let all of these shifty, shisty mofos take us all over the place, right? And so with this monetization of creativity, that's all that matters. And so if you can stay in that creative vibe and say, I can stay here no matter if it looks good monetarily today or it looks bad. And for days upon days, months upon months, you're going to just have to keep doing that. Because remember, we're flipping that barometer to the soul dominantly for now, because we've been way over here dominantly. And to get balance, sometimes you got to go this way all the way, and then you go this way, and then it swings to the middle, So let's do that. Let's just get into that creative vibe. Makes us feel good. That's the key. And then the minute we try to think about money, we feel bad because money has a lot of negative mindsets. You see? So this isn't something you say, oh, I'm going to monetize my creativity. I'm really good at this and I'm going to quit my day job. You will be in soul crushing resistance. Period. This is something you're going to have to work out. And as you go, confront those mindsets, get that resiliency, flip them back to creativity every time you feel that resistance. And before you know it, the resistance goes away and you're able to stay in, as Abraham Hicks says, the vortex of creation. She talks a lot about momentum. We have so much momentum over here with the ego patterns and mindsets and beliefs that we can't possibly just go straight into this. And I think that's what's missing with all this instantly do this, instantly do that manifestation, go, go, go. And it's like, no, let's just kind of, let's create lasting change, lasting balance and harmony within ourselves. Let's be able to say in that creative vibe and say, ooh, I want to expand to the next level, but stay in this vibe. Ooh, I want to be able to start a YouTube channel and monetize it eventually. But then when you make it about the money and, oh, it's not getting monetized. Oh, I'm not getting more subscribers. Oh, I'm not getting more watch time. I'm not doing, and you're making that the barometer of your success, then all this creativity is going to go out the window. You just have to keep doing the creative thing because it feels good and not looking at external circumstances to dictate if you're doing the right thing. This is the key right here. Just do it because it's feeling good, because you think money is going to make you feel good when creativity does make you feel good. And then when you can stay in that vibe, then start monetizing it. And if it starts to go away, then go back to just creating until you start to heal that split within yourself. And then it just flows. And it is stair-step evolution of our consciousness, y'all. Okay, so I just want to look and see, this is the thing. Let go of all the results. The ego wants safety and the soul wants creation. And so you can do this without soul crushing resistance by loving your ego into it. It's okay, baby ego. We're just going to be creative for right now. We still have our day job. Let's just believe in creativity. Let's just get in this zone so deeply that nothing can take us from it. And that's the key. I want you to know the abundant energy of joy, peace, love is the energy that manifests as money. So use creativity as a tool to get into that zone. And then as you go, start to move in small ways. And before you know it, you'll flip out of corporate environment and into the creative zone that makes you money. Then you never have to have any other plan but just be in love and creativity and joy, and then build onto that new masculine mindsets and actions that you can take to build a business. And before you know it, you're in union with your purpose, your soul, and your ego in the earth. Sounds easy, right? Well, it is easy once you get that. I'm moving the needle from money as my fulfillment to creativity as my fulfillment. Until I can hold that, I need to not worry about the money aspect. So just start there. So I really hope this video helps, because this is really going kind of against the grain, but you have to think we've lived in an instant manifestation, instant gratification, where our actions and our goal planning and our mind was in the front seat. And now we have to invite our creativity, our feminine, our intuition, our feelings back in and make them dominant again. And so I really implore you to get to it. Just start being creative and feel what I'm talking about. Creativity is the best meditation ever. If you've ever done something that you absolutely love, it's timeless, it's meditative, it's get on it. It is so important. And if you don't think you have time for it, then you're losing out, because that's going to flip what we've been talking about in this video the more you do it. So, okay. End rant on that. I hope this helps, because this was huge for me, and it took me a long time to go from the CEO to creating my own environment in love, in peace, in joy, because I was so far off, you know? And so you're talking to the queen of not letting go. Structure and monetization, and money is my barometer of my success. Now it totally is creativity, and I know you can get that too. So if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and until next time, take care.